Stardom 101. Stardom 101. Stardom 101.
Stardom 101.
It's the Stardom 101 Magazine Podcast. Shining light on today's tastemakers
and innovators.
Kicking it with your host, Christopher Boykin. It's the Stardom 101 Magazine Podcast.
Stardom 101 Magazine Podcast here on iHeartRadio. Thank you guys for tuning in on this beautiful day in Richmond. And my guest is in Richmond, so this is local. This is going to be exciting. I always get a little pumped up for my local comrades out here doing amazing things. This man is a director, he's a creative producer, he's a videographer, he's a photographer. He does so much more than what I just stated. He goes by the name of Joe Fitzpatrick. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Hi, Chris. I'm doing well. How are you?
Absolutely. I like to start off. This is a passion interview for me. You are on the production side, so I get to see and hear the intriguing things of your mind and how you process media and arts and things of that nature. I like to start off. My first question for you is actually, where did your passion for arts and media, where did that originate from?
Yeah, good question. I think it all started for me when I was in high school. I was really into music, and I had a bunch of different music magazines all over the walls of my bedroom, and I just really admired the art in those magazines. I was really inspired by alternative rock and punk rock and all sorts of heavier types of music.
Yeah,
and I would get these magazines off the shelves. Alternative press was a big one for me. And I just really loved the art that they captured, as well as the music of those bands that were featured in that publication. And I thought it would be super cool if, one day I could do something like that. Fast forward to when I started college, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do professionally. And I always enjoyed writing when I was in high school. And I never really pursued photography much until my senior year of high school, when I took a darkroom photography class and started to look into that type of art. And when I joined the school newspaper at my college, they gave me a DSLR camera to use, and I got to learn, what that tool was all about and what I could do with it. I also learned about the access that it gave me, getting to go to shows for free, to take photos of bands and interview them. That was really something that was exciting to me. And in addition to taking photos and writing for the school newspaper, I started my own photography business. I had access to the equipment that I could use to get that started. And I think social media played a really big role in that too. I was pretty active on MySpace from when I was in high school. And I was introduced to Facebook through one of my peers as I was entering college, and I eventually learned more about that platform, and that's gone on to get me more interested in creating content for social media over the years. But that's where it all started.
Wow. You would then go on to create your own business, Joe Fitz Media. Did you originally have a specific vision for what you were doing when you started, or did it kind of just continue to expand and expand? Did you have always interesting when you media?
Yeah, it's definitely expanded and evolved over the years, which leads into the businesses that I'm pursuing now. But before we get into that, it started off, with just taking band photos, and I would occasionally do portraits of friends and family, or I would like be putting my work out there on MySpace and Flickr, as well as Facebook. And, you know, friends who are in bands would ask me to like take photos for them as well. And, you know, I started to build this brand of like portrait photography while also doing live music photography. And then I got asked to do some nightlife photography.
Wow.
And that was with a group originally known as Wrecking Crew Nation. Shout out to Chris Pryor, another Norfolk, Virginia creative person. He's a bartender, and he also has a podcast called Passing the Bar.
Nice.
I worked with him on one of his episodes. He's also a model as well, so he'd be a great person to feature if you haven't featured him already. But we did that for a couple of years, and that sort of represented like where I was at that point in my life, in terms of my photography brand. You know, it was all about partying and having a good time. Nothing wrong with that, but you know, of course, that leads to you know, a certain lifestyle.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow. And so some of the services that you offer, can you just so that people can understand in a wide realm of scope? I was looking, you do weddings, my goodness, you do all kinds of stuff on Joe Fitz Media. Can you kind of mention some of the services that you offer as well?
Yeah, sure. I've dipped my toe into the wedding scene. To be honest, I haven't done a lot, but I would love to do more. I did my first COVID wedding with my cousin who got married at her apartment. It was a cool experience. And then I also shot a wedding reception at the Hilton Garden Inn in DC.
Nice.
That was really great. But aside from that, you know, I mainly do like lifestyle photography, like documentary photography. I really enjoyed that, like just showing people as they are in their life, especially with a focus on health and wellness, as that's something that's really important to me in my personal life. But I'm really just open to expanding my creative portfolio in whatever direction makes sense.
Nice.
So, you know, I'm pretty open to the type of work that I accept. That being said, I do tend to focus more on video productions, especially since I started getting into that in 2017. And I decided to go back to school in 2019 to pursue a post-baccalaureate certificate in advanced media production technology through DC Arts. And I completed that in spring 2021. So I have that experience under my belt as well. And that was a great opportunity for me, and just building out those technical skills and expanding my network to the professors that are involved with that program, and all the students that I've worked with through that program. Annie Lacey, I got to give her a shout out whenever I can. She's another great director and DP and editor. We got to work together on a Richmond 48-hour film project this past October. And that film, Seth, is featured on my website as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I do it all as much as I can.
Speaking of expanding, there's a lifestyle clothing brand that you're pushing as well. I'd like to hear more details on that. Evolved Goods. I like that name too. That's pretty good. Can you give us some updates on that side?
Yeah, of course. So that's very new. That's my latest project.
Nice.
I've been following these various like lifestyle and fitness clothing brands for a while now. Hate Brand Goods is one of my biggest inspirations, based in St. Louis, Missouri. Just talking about like self-care and personal growth, as well as through, you know, strength sports. Also, really inspired by like the Vans clothing brand and skate culture. I'm not a skater myself, but I do lift, and I enjoy being active through cycling and running.
Nice.
So like cycling attire and running attire and streetwear, it's all inspired by stuff like that. And then the messaging behind the brand, Evolve, is all about personal growth and doing it with a positive mindset. It points to messaging that's helped me to stay focused and grounded and guided through my personal growth journey and bettering myself over the years from that partying lifestyle that I talked about earlier, where I'm at now, which is plant-based. I've been vegan since 2017. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I quit drinking in 2019, and I've lost over 80 pounds since I started going on my health journey. Yeah.
Congratulations, first of all. My goodness, it's life-changing.
Yeah, man. It's really been a journey, and I'm still on it, but I'm really grateful for the progress that I've made.
Wow, this is more than a brand. This is you. This is, you know what I mean? This is your life wrapped inside of your brand. That's amazing. I didn't know that. That's amazing. Congratulations again. My goodness.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the vision for it. You know, I want to share my story and things that have been helpful to me, and try and use that to inspire other people in their personal growth journeys.
Absolutely. Is that where the evolution of the Evolve podcast, are we building on that Evolve brand? Is that kind of taking different branches and leaves in different directions, different departments? Because I know you have your podcast as well.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I had in mind. I really love like the Evolve brand under that. You know, trying to stay consistent with the branding as much as I can.
And speaking of the podcast, where can listeners listen to your podcast? I know, is it on Apple? Is it on podcast plant channels as well?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's on the 3 major podcast providers, which are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Awesome. Now, do you currently, or do you have a preference? Because you have so many different, a variety of set of skills. Do you have a preference on working with independent content creators, or do you have a preference of working with like corporate entities, let's say a digital marketing company, anything like that? Does it kind of depends on the project at hand, or do you have a personal preference, or you just kind of scale it and kind of see what projects present themselves case by case basis?
Yeah. I guess it would depend on the project, but I have largely worked with independent creators or independent clients. As I've been advancing in my career and getting more experience, I have been getting approached by some, bigger organizations.
Awesome.
So that's great to see. And I hope it continues in that direction, but I am always down to work with independent artists and clients that have a specific vision that they're trying to capture.
Awesome. Are you currently working on any other film projects that we can kind of be on the lookout for in the near future?
Well, I have a video version of my blog that I have been quietly working on. So I'm hoping to get that out by the end of the summer. And I have some work for some other clients. But the big thing that I'm going to be doing is starting up the second season of my podcast, beginning late spring, early summer. And then I want to start putting that out. If not midsummer, starting late summer of this year.
Okay, awesome. All right. Are you taking on any new clients, partnerships, collaborations right now, Joe? Because the people are intrigued.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always open to working with new people.
Okay.
Whether that's a one-off project or a longer term, deal. I work with another partner called Fire on the Moon.
Nice.
They're a local production company in Richmond as well as New York City. We've done some productions in both places. So my time is limited in a sense, but I try and fit in new projects where I can as much as possible.
Absolutely. Joe, if you can plug their website to let the listeners know exactly where they can go get more information on your podcast, your videos, photos, a little bit more about you, services, consultations, everything.
Right. There are a lot of them, but the best place to go is my personal website, which is joefitzphotos.com. That has links to all of my work, including the podcast, including the clothing company, Evolved Goods. Or if you want to find me on Instagram, it's at Joe Fitz Photos is my Instagram as well, for that, consistent branding. That has links to my podcast and my clothing company Instagram as well.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, we appreciate you for tuning and tapping into Stardom and sharing your expertise and your vision for your company, your brand. I love your website. I'm on it right now. It looks beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go hit up joefitzphotos.com. Support his podcast as well. His Evolve brand is evolving. Beautiful name, by the way. I like that name.
Season 1 of Evolve podcast is out now.
Nice.
So you can watch the first 31 episodes or listen if that's your preference. That's totally cool too.
Okay.
And like I said, season 2 will be out soon.
Absolutely. Stardom101 Magazine Podcast here on iHeartRadio. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. Joe, thank you for your time, expertise, and continue to shine. We are gone, signing out.
Are you on the rise to stardom? Well, get featured in the next issue of Stardom101 Magazine and promote your business or products today. Text MAG to 804-550-8647 or visit stardom101mag.net.
You're listening to the Stardom101 Magazine Podcast with Christopher Boykin. Be sure to subscribe and download this episode, and continue to listen to Stardom on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.